used a Locket of the Iron Solari. He was already a Golem and a Locket up on the Hex Drinker and Golem of Crumbs.
Exactly, and it's because of Meteos' dedication to efficiency. So even though he got counter-jungled a bit early, he doesn't waste steps in the jungle.
No.
And by the end of the game, his farm was substantially higher than Crumbs, and he ended up winning the matchup regardless of getting beaten up early.
Looking at Champion Select now for this second game. Dignitas trying to hold on to this one in the best of 3 and keep themselves alive. Kiwi Kid taking one of his favorites,
well, he got
Zach to the top lane. They did get it. The picks and bans, as you see on your screen, being locked in.
So Cloud9, instead opting to ban Lee Sin and giving them Zach, didn't like Crumbs early, and they feel like they can deal with Zach. By the way, Cloud9 picks faster than anyone I've seen here. They are basically lining up their pick as Dignitas is thinking about locking down, and they're minimizing the time Dignitas has to react.
Meteos getting what he wants here. They're not going to have to deal with, like you said, that Lee Sin in the jungle, which gave Meteos so much trouble. That's when we see them doing a lot of their work. It was Vulcan that took them out in the loss because they were able to do early game stuff. They were able to come back from what Crumbs did there, but we saw them struggle with it, so they take it out right away.
And it just pushes them to Jarvan, which I feel like is still a very strong champion for Crumbs, but it's not Lee Sin for Crumbs. His Lee Sin has been amazing throughout this entire playoff. And again, they just decide to go right in for the Elise, so they still have a lot of confidence on Meteos on Elise, even with the poor early game. His Elise later on was just fantastic, so you can see why they have the confidence.
The laning phase still feels comfortable with Patoy on that Fiddlestick, so they are going to keep that in. Didn't see too many Crow Storms come into the game. Cloud9 didn't give that chance. The Ashe-Zyra combo dispersing them so much didn't give Patoy anywhere to really ultimate into the fight before it was over. They look like they won't break up that combo just yet unless they grab the Zyra. Or don't grab it.
Yeah, speaking of the fast picks, again, they just Vladimir. Just, okay. That's most likely to match up against Zach. It's a matchup we actually haven't seen that much of, but we do know a lot of the so-called counter picks, or the things that people have been doing against Zach, are things that can sustain through Zach's slow-ish damage, because even though Zach can do a lot of damage, it's over a long period of time.
Okay.
Champions like Nasus can generally heal up through it with all of his lifesteal, and Vladimir could absolutely just negate anything that Kiwi Kid tries to do in lane to Zach. So I do like the Vladimir pick. I probably think it's going for balls, but Cloud9 has been known to swap around lanes.
What would be the ramp up with Zach? You look at Vladimir, it's that 7 to 9 when he keeps getting Q to 5. Where's Zach sit?
Oh, right now, Zach, he has a very standard curve. All of his spells have mediocre to good scaling, and they just go averagely throughout the game, right? So he doesn't necessarily have those weak and strong moments. Late game is probably his point because of the percent health healing that he has, but other than that, he's pretty standard.
We'll have to see what they do with this lane. Looks like Skara may be running the exhaust Karthus. A lot of times when we saw Skara run Karthus or Diana, they would put him in the long lane, but they're on blue side this time, so they may just give it to him. Yeah,
that's a pretty bold pick there against High Zed. That's what a lot of people just end up doing, as you say, because they need to exhaust that death mark. But Zyra Ashe once again for Cloud9. They're undefeated on that. I think Dignitas is trying to counteract all of Cloud9's team fight and team fight control. But again, Cloud9 has utility in the bottom lane and then just heaps of damage from their solo lane. So even though they have different champions in the top and the mid lane, this game, Cloud9 has a very similar style for the comp they want to execute.
So who do we focus this time? You know, Odie said that everybody focuses on to Kiwi Kid, and it's something the team has to adapt about. The team has to think of that next step before each other do, if you will, to be there one step ahead. So how are they going to be able to do this? Will they still focus on to Kiwi Kid to shut that down and cause Dignitas that trouble to pick him up?
Yeah, I feel like the teams that have beaten Dignitas most this summer are the teams that kill Kiwi Kid, because he and the rest of Dignitas don't react well to him getting picked on. He'll die the 5 times, but then he'll die 5 more, and that's really what ends up costing them the games. I would expect it to be a pretty smart thing, because balls can just walk all around where Zach is going, and then the rest of Cloud9 will be able to move as they may.
And as we move around the map a little bit, or the champion select list, we see that Vayne coming out for I'm a Cutie Pie, not something he usually goes to as a default. I don't think Ezreal was. I think Ezreal was actually banned out. Coming into this. So we'll have to see how he does on that. Cutie Pie likes to get his damage out early, so we'll see if he can still thwart or get that in there. The crowd is ready for the game. We are onto the Rift. It's Dignitas versus Cloud9 as Dignitas tries to hold on to the spot in this series.
Yeah, you absolutely mentioned that Vayne for I'm a Cutie Pie, and you pick Vayne oftentimes because he's the only AD carry who can really duel Zed.
Right.
And that's actually something that Sneaky said when he picked Vayne at one point in the season. He's like, why'd you pick Vayne? Oh, it's because I can kill Zed.
Yeah.
And that's what AmaCutiePie is going to be trying to do. You can kill Zed, but Zed can also kill you, so it's a dangerous matchup.
It's going to be a quick one. Don't blink. We'll see what they decide to do going in. It's going to be a long ward here by Lemon Nation, and he's actually going to do this again on the... Are they going to put the Golem ward down?
Yeah, that's the same movement that Lemon Nation did in the prior game, but he didn't have to do a sneaky ward over top of the Golem because he recognized that Dignitas was charging it high. High was actually extremely close to getting caught out by a Fiddlestick Sphere, but he just could not get in range.
Single Rome champion over here. Lemon Nation doing big things. He's going to have to get out.
Are in trouble,
no,
sir.
The fear is first. The Meteos could go down.
He's going down.
KDA, and it's going to Kiwi Kid.
So we talked about Cloud9 struggle. When they give up kills at level 1, they generally do struggle. Meteos didn't even burn a summoner spell, but he gave up a lot there. Kill to Kiwi Kid as well. Assist to his jungling adversary, Crumbs. This could be trouble for Meteos.
Pretty different. Dignitas, that was a really good read. How often do you see an entire team walk out and then back into their tri-bush around the Dragon's Den?
They definitely caught Meteos off guard there, but at the same time, I don't really know what Meteos was doing there.
He was giving a little backup to Lemon Nation, but Lemon's like, I'm out. You might want to get out too. He's going to get back into his jungle, not hurting just yet. It is a Doran shield and the boots buy to come in for Kiwi Kid to start. Start off with the shield, so he got himself some boots there.
Yeah, and he's able to pick up a ward. So those 400 First Blood gold coins are very beneficial for him. And I still think that he was not going to be able to bully early, even just because he's Zac and he doesn't necessarily do too much early in the lane. It'll be later that we're going to see the impact of that kill.
Red Elixir on to high and mid. We know exactly what that is for, but lately we've seen that coming into the first engagement. It doesn't come at level 2 all the time now. We could see it at level 5, at level 6 with the ultimate.
Heck, we've seen Zeds hold Red Elixirs until level 9,
Yeah.
or even just get to a point where they say, yeah, I'll sell it back to the shop for an extremely discounted rate. Because it's the threat alone of having the Red Elixir that actually gives you the advantage in the lane here. If they get ganked or if they start fighting.
A really good bounce to go on to Lemon Nation, but they have already delivered enough damage back to Patoy that they cannot act on the silence just yet. We're going to see Lemon Nation and Sneaky, well, not pushing as hard. The plants are really pushing for him, but they are stalling the lane.
Yeah, and the ward advantage is also going to be on Dignitas for the most part because they all got a little bit of extra gold from that First Blood. Crumbs has taken the long way around here. They know there's a river ward that he's actually going to be able to dodge because of the way he's jumped over all these walls. And Sneaky and Lemon Nation do not know where Crumbs is, but Crumbs' mana is actually a little bit low for these combos. Sneaky and Lemon Nation are in a whole bunch of trouble right now.
This was a flash fear last time. He flashes, he gets the fear. Can they get on the Lemon Nation? He absolutely flashes on the flag and drag, and it looks like he may be able to get out. Another flash, the barrier, and the kill. A second one as the retribution comes in from Sneaky.
That's one of those not worth ganks. Because AmaCutiePie burned flash and barrier. Lemon Nation didn't, Sneaky didn't burn either one until now.
That's not very sneaky whatsoever. Looks like he forgot to tie his shoes on this one. The red buff, the flash, it's ticking. He's burning. He misses the flag toss.
Wow. Smiles from Sneaky after that. There's the stun by Meteo.
Oh dear, high going in. There's that red elixir. He didn't even use the red elixir. Didn't need to.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Oh, a little bit.
2 kills to 2 already, 4 minutes, 20 seconds into the game. Cloud9's just recovered from that First Blood, by the way, because getting the kill on a Sneaky, getting the kill from Meteos already, Meteos is fine in this game, and now he's even going to be able to counter jungle a bit of Crumbs because he knows how long he stayed in that bottom lane.
Got the kill, already has a 10 CS as well on Crumbs, so he is moving, and he is moving at a high pace. Looks like we're going to have the Brutalizer coming out quite quick here for High, as he knows he's getting a bit of an advantage as well. But still, like we said, did not use that red elixir. It looks like the AD carries are actually May triple Dorans on each side this time. It'll be the first.
AmaCutiePie's definitely gone a little bit heavy into the Dorans department right now because he recognizes he gave up the first kill to Sneaky, and in order to be competitive, he had to go early game items, knowing that Sneaky's going to do his thing.
It's one of those scaries, do I match him or see if I can get ahead of him situations, and usually you just match.
Your choice.
Go with it safe. Good pink ward coming down from Crumbs. he was actually focusing that spot quite a bit in his last invasions as they were on the purple side, so he's going to get that covered a bit for Skara so he doesn't get flanked from his rear. Cutie Pie and Patoy still just sitting in the middle of this lane. We haven't talked about too much of the top lane either. Balls and Kiwi Kid going at it, but like we said, those guys aren't going to be doing much to each other anyways.
I'm actually okay with not checking out that top lane. I don't think there's much to talk about. Vladimir and Zach are going to be farming, especially with all this action going down in the bottom lane. Fool me once, says Lemon Nation, but not twice. He's going to be checking that brush with seeds for the rest of this game.
We do see him a little bit, 38 to 33. Like you said, the kill not having too much of an effect on this game, and we don't see Kiwi Kid really come into play until later. Nice 3-bolt proc there by Cutie Pie and a sneaky, but it's not going to matter. He's still got the potions. So we see the flash down for Patoy still, that last engagement. Still waiting on barrier for Cutie Pie. Haven't seen too much aggression just yet from Meteos in this bottom lane, but he may look to act on that in just a few. But he's going to be walking through a ward.
This is another one of those games where Meteos had the one hyper-efficient gank that got a kill, and aside from that has been out farming Crumbs. Level 6 to level 4.
Whoa!
And now he's just running at it.
That's not the fight you want to have. He decides to back out here, and that is smart play. Knowing you got the advantage on the jungler means he has free time pretty much for the next 20 seconds as Crumbs backs.
Exactly, and Skara now becomes vulnerable down at this turret. He's down in exhaust still. If Meteos comes around as High goes in, it would be a kill. It's just a matter of having the minion wave there and the timing right. I think instead of doing a risky dive, Cloud9's taking a safer route here.
Yeah.
They know Patoy and I'm a Cutie Pie are both still level 5. They know Jarvan is not there, and High has supremacy over Skara in the mid lane. This is just a bunch of advantages that Cloud9 is cashing in.
Meteos dipped in for that kill in between the turrets and still saw the back by Crumbs. Yeah, remember, that flash and barrier are down, so what Cutie Pie and Patoy just did there was quite dangerous, but they will have a bit more of a timer on what happened at Dragon. Dignitas was able to grab a few for themselves. 2-2 now in the game. We have to remember Dig grabbing first blood. Didn't happen the same way this time.
No, this was a little bit different, a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And the first objective also going down very quickly here. High still sitting on that red elixir, by the way, and farming very well against Skara early, I'd have to say. Karthus generally farms amazingly well, and Zed actually, if he has a struggling point in the lane, it's very early on, and High's bypassed that, so High will be farming extremely well for the remainder of this game.
58 to 61 on our matchup there between those two, so we'll have to keep track of how they are doing. A 7-7 wet noodle fight in the top lane. They're just accruing gold on each other. It's been Kiwi finding himself some gold, but we're not going to see any real pressure from these guys. They didn't even have any part in the Dragon, so that island is
don't even have teleports or
breaking off
this time.
And floating away.
Yeah, and I actually feel like this lane's going to turn in Balls' favor very shortly. He's been able to pick up the spell vamp right now, and he can shove that lane actually a little bit faster than Kiwi Kid can.
So we're looking at about 1,000 gold lead here in favor of Cloud9, able to grab the objectives. A few kills in their favor. Kiwi Kid's first blood still playing in effect for him. We're seeing that to come within the next 10 to 20 minutes. A little bit of a grab on Patoy. Patoy always coming out with this amount of health in the beginning, but there's Crumbs. He reads it. Another flash engage from Patoy, but this time Lemon has ulti too. A beautiful condemn against the wall at the last second that Sneaky needed to fire.
Crumb's counter gank pays off this time. He spends so much more time looming around to counter gank than Meteos does, generally speaking. And now maybe they can get another one. High burned the exhaustive scar as well.
Finally got that red elixir out. I was weighing him down.
Look out, I'm a Cutie Pie. There's a spider.
Gets the lockdown. So much damage. Half health. The grasping roots matches. Hits down Cutie Pie. He just got his barrier back and he was forced to use it in defense.
And that's just efficiency right there. Meteos spent all but 10 seconds waiting in that brush and gets rewarded with the kill.
There's
tick,
the ignite.
Tick,
boom. And there's the zombie Karthus. High picking up a kill for himself. And this is like Kobe said, Cloud9's now going to try to aggress on one of those objectives even harder. They got to make something happen after a kill.
Yeah, this is a lot more lane aggression than we saw in the first game. Cloud9 almost up 2,000 gold after giving up that first blood and continuing to dive. Look at Meteos right now, just powering through.
Level 8 to level 7, and that's what it means. You become the food of the level 8. Patoy getting hit up as well. Will he pick up another one? Lemon Nation grabs that one. He's 1-1-3 for the team.
Well,
acting on the adapting.
This is real close to getting out of hand right now, Riv. They're going to be taking their second turret, and Balls is also pressuring the third. You know how last game they kind of had 2/3 of their machine going right now? They have all of their picks right now, and everyone can work in synergy with each other.
4,500 gold coming in right now at 10.5 minutes into the game. These objectives, the kills and the turrets, are all in favor of Cloud9, and they pretty much have Cloud9's name on it right now. Dignitas isn't in a position to stop what's happening at this point. Scarra's not charged up. He's still going to be taken down by High quite quickly in that fight. And really, when you have a Karthus on your team, that wall stops everything from getting to your AD carry. That back line, it's going to be big when Scarra goes down instantly.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult positional battle for Dignitas if they want anything to do with this game. They lost all 3 of their outer turrets. Almost all at once.
Yeah.
Because Cloud9 recognized they had the one advantage, and Meteos, by the way, is top gold in the game. His presence has really been felt by everyone on Dig.
Spirital Spectral Wraith coming out on Balls. Haven't seen that item in a while. Usually seeing on some of the Elises when they want to go for a bit more damage. He, like you said, is getting Spell Vamp with that and is able to kind of just throw that lane into Kiwi Kid's face.
Exactly. They were able to keep the pressured turret back, and they made Kiwi Kid get out of the lane as soon as High roamed around. The rotations of Cloud9 right now are awesome. Even though they have the top laners and the mid laners, they're going where they want right now. High is turned into a side lane pusher. That is where Zed excels around the mid game because no one can realistically duel him at this point. So anyone who goes down there needs to bring a friend. And if they send a friend, then the rest of Cloud9 gets opportunity, which is what Cloud9 is banking on.
And they're starting to put multiple pink wards in inventories. We just saw one dropped to the left of Dignitas' mid turret. High still holds one for himself as well. They're looking to just pretty much clear it out. Now they know, like you said, they have those 3 outer down. They can pretty much push in to put those inner wards in.
Yeah, also the Dragon is coming up in about 50 seconds, so all the wheels turning right now for Cloud9's machine. They're doing such a good job in this game, really recovering from the silly first blood that Meteos gave up. They did not let it phase them, and they're right into their game.
Second tier turret here coming in for Balls. Vladimir not the greatest tower taker down, but he will get to that tower quite fast with his Tides of Blood just coming up every so often. And it looks like Kiwi Kid isn't able to stop that. And nobody's putting any pressure towards that top lane.
The big thing about the Vladimir split push isn't that he takes turrets quickly, it's that you can't get rid of him. He's Flash Ghost with the pool of blood, and you can't out-harass him once he gets that Spectral Wraith. So that's exactly what he's trying to do to Kiwi Kid right now. He's just wearing him down. And there's multiple points on the map right now where Dignitas needs to send more people than they have.
Ah, the days of running Flash Ghosts.
Still happens if you're Vladimir.
Still happens if you are Vlad. 13.5 minutes, Cloud9 again with the timer on the Dragon, and again in their favor. 23,500 gold to 17.2 right now for Dignitas. That gold lead is about a core item, but it is evenly spread across the team. There's 3 kills for Meteos. Wonder if he'll start going for any bit of damage soon. It looks like he's going to go again for help for the team.
Well, specifically, supports benefit the most when the team is creating a lot of objectives because they generally have no gold flow to begin with.
Right.
And you can see Lemonation has just kind of parlayed that into multiple gold per 10 items, just making sure he's going to have a bunch of gold flow later. He could actually build a big-time Zyra build if this game gets late.
Kiwi Kid going in. They're trying to deter something here. There's the wall to keep them back. Scar getting caught up. They flash it, but it's going to be right into High. He throws down the damage. The Hemoplague about to take down Scar. Nothing you can do about that as Balls picks up his first kill of the game there.
Balls actually walked in to finish Scar, then he realized his ult would finish him anyway and just backed away.
That looked pretty painful. Grasping Roots from across the side there, and it looks like Meteos is going to get himself caught out. Too bad he couldn't reach the Wolves.
Yeah, Meteos was a little too far from home in that one.
Yep.
Slightly overzealous, but the rest of Cloud9 is still able to press down because they got the Scar kill, and High is just happily pushing bottom.
Cutie Pie making great work of a Condemn there to really put the damage down, and we see him starting to go for that. Oh, he has the Bilgewater, starting to go for that Blade of the Rune King. Once he finishes that, we'll get that Zed duel potential, but if Zed positions correctly, the Condemn is really one of the biggest things, that you're not next to that Shadow anymore. You're not next to him, and you can part ways.
It'd be very difficult for High to actually deal with this because he's had to build somewhat to deal with Scar, and then if they send Kiwi or I'm a Cutie Pie as a counter duelist to him, he could actually cause a bit of trouble.
Right.
But that's not the big deal for Dignitas right now. It's not the problem. The problem is the fact that they're down 3 turrets and 2 dragons, or 6,500 gold. Yep. Maybe they can deal with high by sending about I'm a Cutie Pie, but they can't deal with balls. They can't deal with Meteos, and they certainly can't deal with the utility that Sneaky and Lemonation bring to team fights with Ash Zyra.
There's almost an amount of gold that once you surpass that, you can't guard your inner turrets. You have to get back to the base. The walls of your base kind of add 1,000 gold to your composition because you're pinched in, you can hit your skill shots, and you can defend your base a lot harder in that turtle. But right now, out in the open, it's almost like they're down even more gold with the ability, the dive potential, the Ash Arrow, just what Cloud9 can do, and then continue to take objectives.
It's a very practiced strategy for them, and we're kind of seeing it again.
Undefeated Ash Zyra.
Yeah, it was almost a little strange because they ran it so much during the regular season, during their win streak, that it almost seemed, oh, when they get to the playoffs, surely teams are going to take the Ash Zyra away, and Cloud9's not going to know what to do. But there were so many other threats of things that you want to ban from Cloud9, and Dignitas decided it was the best choice to let it get through. But we're really seeing how well Cloud9 executes this, because when they get to bring Ash Zyra, they get to bring so much damn damage in the mid lane and the top lane together that it becomes this overwhelming force in these teamfights with the way Cloud9 executes.
And even the way they've gone about these 2 games. How many times has Balls played Vladimir? How many times do we talk about High played Fizz? Not.
Yeah.
And they've brought out 2 of those champions in high priority games.
Yeah, they have no fear in Champ Select right now.
Oh, big engage from Kiwi Kid there, but he didn't get the bounce up, and they're going to choose to go on this one. It means the blobs may be there. They don't finish the kill onto Kiwi, so he's going to come back strong if this fight could go into a long engagement. Scar getting back. The long engagement will happen, so Kiwi Kid will be able to get back. The Hemo Plague is down, which is big for the area of effect and the arrow.
There was a lot burned by Cloud9 in that fight, and Dignitas survived with every person still up. Kiwi Kid didn't even burn his passive, so a little bit of a failed Ash Arrow engagement there by Cloud9. They are still looking to press on, though, because High is right behind Scar. Oh, look out.
Like I said, they cannot be out in the open around these turrets. It is not safe. The base is pretty much, with the gold lead they have, the only safe place, and Cloud9 is letting them know that right now. Dignitas has been able to pick up those few kills when Cloud9 is straggling. So if those mistakes can happen, Dignitas can easily find those here and there. They're not going to Cutie Pie, unfortunately, though. He's 0, 2, and 3, and those 3 need to be in the first column.
And again, Kiwi Kid is the person wearing 2 kills, but his positioning and the rest of Dignitas can't follow up where he goes, so it's not really helping them that much having all that gold on Kiwi Kid.
So we see the Rod of Ages build going onto Scar. He does not choose that Archangels. 9,000 gold, just about. A few on the back end there as Cloud9 gets a bit of interest on that. See more finished item. Blade of the Rune King and Hex Drinker going on to High. Almost a finished Infinity Edge. And the Ruby Sightstone now coming in for Lemonation. He chooses with those gold generation items that he will get the Ruby Sightstone this time, and will take over the map even more. Look at that wardage.
They're basically saying to Dignitas that this is ours now. They want the jungle for themselves, and they're going to take it because it's 4 turrets to 0. This game has been absolutely dominated by Cloud9. Obviously, the biggest item I feel like coming out would be that Blade of the Rune King by High, because at this point in the game, when Zed gets that Blade of the Rune King, it's basically kill whoever you want, especially Kiwi Kid, who's went only magic resistance against Balls' Vladimir and still been down over 50 minion kills in that lane matchup. Anywhere Cloud9 wants to go, they can, and Dignitas can't even really match. I think even a 4v5 might come out with Cloud9 on top. And we could actually see that right here as Cloud9's trying to take a 4v5 Dragon.
They are going quite strong. It's down. Could it be stolen here? They actually get thrown off of it. It goes to Meteos still.
They got
gets
Sneaky.
The smite down. They're going to keep going. Sneaky very low. The Locket of the Iron Solari plus his barrier was not enough to keep him alive. The Condemn in the bush. The ward does not go in, so they're forced to chase it. But the double kills come out. They are not going on to Cutie Pie still. Balls is going to be pressuring the top lane here to give him something else to think about.
So a very risky Dragon right there. They tried the 4v5, which maybe they could win, but they didn't actually fight. They got initiated on very abruptly. And even though Meteos did smite the Dragon away, Sneaky was down before the fight happened. High did not decide to do combat, and they really just tried to disengage. Overall, the gold trade was even for that, and Balls got a lot of extra farm in the side lane. So even though it looked bad for Cloud9, they actually gained an advantage off of that.
It's crazy about the positioning. And to look how the fight was won by Dignitas. They came out with the kills. They had just lost a fight at their second tier turret, which means it's all about positioning right now. Yeah, that gold definitely matters, but if they can get that positioning again, get those few kills in, they can start crawling back into this.
Oh, High is trying to run into two people, but he's very expertly able to escape. He might. He wanted to turn that. But
Bait
he
that
realized
in
there was
with
a third.
Lemon Nation coming in.
Yeah, there's a third person in the
Three's
crew.
a party. No, thank you. 20 minutes, 21 minutes into the game, 9-6 right now. The second in the best of 3 series here between Cloud9 and Dignitas. Dignitas down 1, as you see on your screen, looking to keep the hopes alive for this spot.
Yeah, and one thing I really like about Cloud9 is how, depending on the game, they funnel gold on someone completely different. In the first game, it was Sneaky, who just out of the blue had the most gold, and then, you know, Ash doesn't do that and just goes and kills PewDiePie in the next second. This game, it's balls. He already has that death cap, because with that late pick, they recognized that there was nothing on Dignitas that could actually deal with him, and it's just working out so well at this point. He's already got 8,800 gold, 21 minutes in. Really a very powerful Vladimir that is just going to overwhelm Dignitas with damage, I feel like, when the next fight, or the rest of the fights in this game, break out.
Skara and crew pretty much staying on their own side of the jungle right now, but not even that is safe. You can see the brush check by Skara with the lay waste, knowing that Zyra was just there. The Oracle is on both of the supports, so they're trying to gain back that coverage in their jungle right now. But at only 22 minutes into the game, they're down 11,000 gold.
Yeah, it's a bit much. Lemon Nation has actually gotten 600 gold just from his gold per 10 items, and now Cloud9 is just thinking about going for a Baron. They can't rush it down too quickly, but they know they have the ward control on Dignitas's blue jungle, so they know if there's an approach and a threat for a steal. And it's not happening. They get it.
Looks like they could be going to fast. The ward pretty much knew they were doing it. Kiwi Kid's going to back out of this one. They steal that money away as well, and it looks like Cloud9, after taking something, they take more.
Yeah, and they're not going to wait too long. It's only 22 minutes in, by the way, but this is a near 12,000 gold lead. It's looking very likely that Cloud9 is going to earn a berth into the World Championships extremely shortly, and then have a date with TSM in the finals tomorrow, if they can make this dive work.
Dignitas holding at their base right now. The wave clear of Dignitas is not amazing either. They don't have a team that can just blow these minions out of the water, so there's always going to be a little bit of poke you see coming on the turret. When Cloud9 is there.
When Cloud9 decides, but the side lanes are actually pushing, and that's a lot of gold for Cloud9 to pick up right now. They have been focusing on the gold this game. They have a few dollars, 41,000, only 23 minutes in. And they have still yet to surrender a turret, which is absolutely unreal. This has been a total domination by Cloud9, after a pretty shaky start to game 1.
And the lowest turret is their bottom one, not even, you know, below 75% health. So whatever Dig does, it's going to take quite a long time for them to get to somewhere where they can continuously pressure that. The first thing they get is an outer turret, which means they're pinched in between whatever ones they try to fight with. So it's a very scary jungle of Cloud9 to be in. And right now, they're trying to take back their own jungle, as we were saying. Go back to the beginning, Kiwi Kid got that kill. They got more kills in the bottom, but every time that Dignitas executed, Cloud9 shows that they're confident about the laning phase. And we saw High getting kills as well. We saw somebody else dying on Dignitas when Dig was executing something.
Yeah, we just have to think about how Cloud9's composition has been working. Everyone can push waves extremely quickly, including the bottom lane of Ashe Zyra, and that's what they've done. That's one of the big reasons that all their turrets have taken little to no damage. It's been a total control over the map that has given Cloud9 this huge thing, and it's no surprise, right? It's a 25-3 team in the regular season. They 4-0'd Dignitas, working on a 6-0 right now. Meteos has only died once prior to this game against these guys, and now they're just going to try to kill Kiwi Kid.
You're too big to dodge that, Blob Man. Kiwi Kid gets stuck up by the cocoon, but it looks like the Let's Bounce may have him in a pretty safe position. Maybe the reinitiation coming in here. We see Crumbs from the side trying to help the team out. Balls, oh, the arrow just misses for Sneaky. Scar means he can get in there and do damage, but the Hemoplague is down, and so is he. Cutie Pie on the backside. There's so much disengage from this Cloud9 team, and there is no engage to come from Dig.
Not a bad fight for Dignitas to think about, but they are just too far behind. It's now 15,000 gold. Balls' Hemoplague just exploded the majority of Dignitas there, and they're just pushing multiple inhibitors at once.
Every player on Cloud9 right now has a level advantage. 17 to 15 in the top. The jungle is 14 to 11 right now. We've seen Meteos target Crumbs over and over again, and it's been the bane. Crumbs has not been able to get to lane. He has not been able to make the plays like Lee Sin can in the hands of Crumb.
And the death timers are pretty short because we're only 25 minutes in.
Yeah.
But Cloud9 walks away with both inhibitors going down. Double in kills, even more advantages. This is looking great for them.
Cloud9 going to continue some pressure. Crumbs finds High right on the outside. See how much damage that does. So an engagement just from him can take one of the tankier guys down to half HP here.
Yeah, he didn't even really stick around either. He could have hit him a lot harder, but he recognized there was a few other friends coming for Crumbs, so he wanted to get out of there, knowing that Cloud9 has this game completely in hand.
188, 4-2-4. They almost met. Oh, Ball's getting hit up here. He tries to get that blue buff away. He actually dodged that condemn out, but it's on cooldown right now for Vayne, so he's going to be able to walk out of this one.
Wow. That's just rude at that point. He didn't need a blue buff. He's Vladimir. He just wanted it.
But as I was saying before that engagement, well, as Sneaky picked up 20 CS somehow when they were 10. 4-2-4. The CS is quite close, but it's, as I said, it's been the assist going to Vayne. Still looking to complete his second item to come in with that Phantom Dancer, and Sneaky's already on that Infinity Edge Static Shiv and Last Whisper.
It's been a while since we've seen a gold lead this big, actually.
Yes.
This is definitely the most one-sided game we have seen this entire playoffs, or even if we're counting the Challenger tournament as well. This is just absolute domination by Cloud9, and Dignitas has they have almost nothing left that they can do. Both of their side lanes are going to have super minions coming. They're going to try to defend this one, but at this point, Cloud9 might just be showing off. They should be able to wreck this next fight.
As we see Cloud9 over and over again as history repeats itself, they are always sure about aggression in their lead. They know when to push. They don't let up. High is in the bottom lane already, so Dignitas has multiple things to think about, especially an arrow from Sneaky. Crumbs tries to go in with Kiwi Kid. It's going to be on to Sneaky. A nice Cataclysm to the backside. Will they be able to drop Cloud9 in the base, though? Like I said, Dig has that chance in the base to get this, but it's already 3 down. It's going to be Kiwi Kid following next as he's going into the blob form. He goes down. The turrets may be able to save him, though. Meteos on the outside with High. They are still aggressing, and they're almost lost the Nexus turret.
They got him as well, so that's 4 for 0. The Super Minis have arrived. Nobody on Cloud9 died. They're going for it, Riv.
The best of 1, the best of 3. Cloud9 knows how to play it in front of a stage, on the stage, in front of a crowd. They're able to take it, and they've done what they've done all season long, the victory.
Yeah, it's safe to say Cloud9 knows how to play League of Legends pretty well right now, Riv, no matter what stage they're on. They have now safely qualified for the World Championships, and it's all about the bye now. They move on to the North American Regional Finals to face, honestly, some of their pretty good friends in TSM.
You can see them talking. They realize that was a different type of game. You have to. Hats off type of game, where you just give credit to the other team. Really, Dig didn't have a chance to make mistakes. They were taken out of lane as soon as they got into it out of their base. They were always hiding in the brush. At one time, I think we saw 9 wards in the jungle of Dig when we looked down at the security system that Lemon Nation had installed. But these guys were on top of everything.
And you kind of want to say it was right from the very start, but it wasn't even, because Meteos gave up first blood.
Right.
That was how good Cloud9 was overall in this game, that they could just come back after that. You could just hear the appreciation by the crowd as well.
Especially in the first game. Dig had a great stranglehold on that early portion of the game. Coming up, as we said, 4 kills, the turret's in their favor, but it's always the objective. The Ashe-Zyra combo is so huge at the dragon fights for these guys time and time again.
I'm really excited for the finals here. Only because it's been so long since a team has I guess, dethroned TSM, and it's been feeling like Cloud9 could even be that team. And I'd almost written off TSM before today, but their performance against Vulcan earlier said maybe TSM's back on the map. And then today, right now, against Dignitas, Cloud9 did seem a little vulnerable at the start against Dignitas. But then after they'd given up those kills in the early turrets, they just wrecked for the rest of it. They looked amazing. And they're going to be vying for that buy in the Worlds.
Now, what other teams think now? They came out and did it with Fizz, and then Vladimir, which weren't main champions in their pool at all for high until coming into these weeks. So there's a lot to think about. These games are going to have to be watched by Team Solo Mid over tonight.
Yeah, and Cloud9, what is safe to say is while they did do the Zyra Ashe, they can mix it up.
Absolutely.
And they're probably going to have to against TSM.
They're still undefeated on it now. Both of them have a 13-0 record on Ashe and Zyra, and that was even made throughout the season when they switched it up. But we'll let
awesome stuff.
Kobe and Freak break this down for you.